to another episode of 7 Minutes. I am Chris Wright. I'm with my host, Beverly Swim. 7 Minutes is a show where we talk to who's who in the 518, people who are successful, social influencers, entrepreneurs, and the like. Today, our guest is Jami Rogowski, a real estate attorney, very successful in the area. And today we talk to her about balancing life, being a mother, a wife, a dog owner, and doing many, many hours of law throughout the week. And we also talk about Ella Cool J and the New York Yankees. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jami Rogowski.
Welcome to Jami Rogowski, managing partner of the Capital District location of the law firm Black Longo. Jami focuses her practice on all aspects of residential and commercial real estate. She grew up in the Capital Region and even graduated from St. Rose, and is married with 2 daughters and a husky, which I cannot wait to learn about. I hope you have a picture to share.
I do.
Awesome. Well, Jami, welcome to our interview show, 7 Minutes. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that's going to be happy to see you. Let me tell you why Jami. Why is Jami here? Jami, you're here because, first of all, you have an amazing social network presence. You're very funny, okay? You're extremely funny. People always comment on your post. And I thought, you know what? She's an influencer. So I read the book, Lean In by Sheryl Sandberg. Have you ever read that? So she's the former CEO of Facebook, very successful woman. And the book Lean In, it's about women in the workplace and tips and encouragement for them to be successful and be a family woman. All right. And the one thing I noticed about your Facebook post that you seem to have a very close relationship with your daughters. All right. You guys are always doing fun things. You seem to have a very good relationship with your dog, your family, your husband, everybody. Okay. So I was just always intrigued, just being an attorney and being as busy as you are, because everyone loves you in that field of work. How do you go about balancing your life like you do?
Well, one, thanks for having me, guys. And two, that was all so complimentary, Chris. And thank you, Bev. That was very kind of you to say those things. That is the question for the ages. I have been practicing law for 26 years. I have a 22-year-old and a 20-year-old. It has been my greatest honor to try to give 100% to all things. And frankly, sometimes I nailed it and sometimes I didn't. I think the most important thing is to attempt all this with humor and empathy and compassion, and just to keep working to serve. And that includes my family, that includes my friends, that includes my firm. I always say those are the 3 F's, the 3 most important things to me: family, friends, and firm. And there were times when very dark times where I felt like I wasn't succeeding at anything. And then I realized, you gotta take it easy on yourself. If your clients are being served, if your kids are happy, you don't have to be a perfectionist. There are times when my house is a mess and I wouldn't let anybody in there because I don't want anybody to see it. Sometimes you'll see me put it on Facebook, the laundry pile. And I do that to kind of support the males and females coming up behind me that sometimes feel like they're not getting to everything in their life the way they should too. I am a very traditional Italian wife, so I try to cook as much as possible. I clean my own house, but sometimes it's not the way I want it to be done. But if I'm spending time with my family, if I'm getting my work done at work, those are my 2 biggest priorities. I'll consider that a success.
Awesome.
Absolutely. You were talking about the people that were coming up behind you. Have you been a mentor? And if so, how did it go?
I would love to think. I mean, you'd have to ask the people that I work with and some of the organizations that I work with. I would like to think that they think of me as a mentor. I think for any company or any firm, I mean, I can only talk about law because that's really what I did. I did banking before, but you have to have a 2-part recipe. One, the senior employees have to want to teach, have to want to support, have to want to show the people coming up behind them the way. But you also need the younger generation to want to learn, to want to be supported, to want to go to a trial or a closing. If you have both of those, the teachers and the people willing to be taught, you can't go wrong. You absolutely can't go wrong, because especially in the law, you're not taught really much in law school, except how to read, how to issue spot, how to recite the law, how to research the law. But, you know, you need the experience. And if you don't have that person to lead you, it takes a lot longer to get there. I work with the Schenectady County Bar Association, and we've just been talking about how important mentoring is. And we just threw basically just a mixer a couple weeks ago and invited as many attorneys as we could in Schenectady County. And it was great to see the older members of the association talking to the younger members of the association, because there are a lot of times people graduate from law school and then they just open their own practice. They don't really have anybody to learn from, right? And it's so hard. So we're hoping we're going to help some people. So I don't know, long story short, I hope people think of me as a mentor, especially a couple of my colleagues. But we'll see. We'll see how that plays out.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now you did personal. I'm sorry. You did personal injury also in your life, right? Did you do that?
I did not. I was an ancillary force at my old firm. There is a very successful personal injury practice run by two of my best friends, and I was able to do the estate work on those. So if something happens to somebody, the family can't just start a lawsuit until someone's appointed, as a representative of their estate. So I got to start a lot of that, which was very interesting, because I did a lot more than real estate in my old life. So they're really the experts at it, not me.
Okay.
Makes sense. So throughout the day, I mean, you have a lot of responsibilities. You have your family, you have work. I mean, you're surrounded by people and tasks that you need to take care of. How do you stay motivated, and how do you keep everything kind of rolling along?
Lists. I have a lot of lists, and I tend to be a high anxiety person, to the point where before I go to bed, I have looked at what tomorrow entails and what I'm going to tackle first, what can wait, what can't wait, what I need help with. I've been much better at delegating, because I tend to be a control freak too, which has been very helpful in my practice, because when we came over to Block Longo, and with the way the market went, I had to start really, like my time even became more, it was just very demanding, very, very demanding, because the amount of files we were closing, we went from like 5 a day to 22 a day. And I'm not making those numbers up. So my lists, it's funny, because my iPhone, that note section, anything I need to do ends up in that note section. So
same.
Mm-hmm. I also have one of the best teams in the Capital District. So they help me with every single file, with every single thing. If I'm in a closing, there's 2 other people on that email to make sure that my client's getting an answer, or the agent's getting an answer, or the lender's getting an answer.
Wow. And you're a partner, right?
I am.
Congratulations on that. How long have you been a partner?
Here since I started. I came in as a partner. In my old firm, I was a partner since 2005.
Well, are you the managing partner of the Albany location?
I am.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, I got a cute question for you. You ready for this one? Have you ever received an insult that you're actually proud of?
That is a very good question. Along many, many times, I have been called too sensitive. I do not take that as an insult, even though it was meant as an insult many times, because I think we need more sensitivity in this world to differences, to adversity, to situations, to not being so judgmental. I think we need more empathy, and I think sensitive people, they can be more empathetic. I want to be able to put myself in somebody else's shoes. Like, so if I'm in a closing and they're complaining, I want to feel that. That makes me a better lawyer. So they can call me sensitive all day long.
And you're okay with that?
I'm okay with that.
Yeah. So Jamie, I heard something today if everybody in the world would just act justly and love fully, it'd be a much better place. So totally
That's
understand
perfect.
what you're saying.
That's perfect. My license plate for 10 years was just Jamie, because I tend to do that in my head, sometimes too much.
Mhm. What does that mean, just Jami?
Exactly. We were supposed to pick an adjective in 10th grade health class to describe yourself, and people were coming up with, funny, all these, and I'm like, I'm just Jami. And my teacher took it as, do you mean that you fight for justice?
Hmm.
And I said, you know what? I'm just Jami right now, but I want to be that person. I want to be
Wow.
that person. So
Interesting. So what would you say to a young person considering law school and today, because you've done it 20 years. So what would you say to a young person considering law school today? And what would you say to them when they graduated law school, passed their bar, all that stuff?
So I'm laughing because both my daughters want to be lawyers. My one daughter starting law school in September. She works at the firm now, and I have been trying to talk them both out of this. So people tell me not to do that. So I think law school is a wonderful, wonderful experience. I had the greatest 3 years of my life. I went to Western New England in Springfield. I met the best people. I learned about teamwork. I just met all kinds of people. It was such a wonderful, eye-opening experience. The law is very difficult. The bar is very difficult. It is one of my greatest professional achievements. I passed New York and I passed Massachusetts. I feel like it is such a responsibility. I mean, we have people's lives. No matter what you practice, you have an aspect of people's lives in your hands. It is very stressful. It is very demanding. Over the last 3 years, the energy has changed. People don't treat us like professionals as much as they used to. Having said that, you can change people's lives with the law. You can protect people. You can hand over a set of keys to a family that immigrated into this country. You can oversee an adoption. You can dissolve a marriage that nobody is succeeding in. There are so many ways you can touch people's lives in what I do. And I've been lucky over the course of my career. I've done almost every type of law except maybe criminal. I haven't done much criminal. So I've seen it all. Can be very joyful at times. It can be very depressing at times. I used to do a lot of estate law. So it's all out there. It's never boring. It's very fulfilling, but it's hard work. I mean, my days don't end. They don't end. And it's not like you can just close a file and go home. It's all encompassing. So is that a good enough answer? Does that describe it? I don't know.
Yes, absolutely.
And
Yes.
I'm sure the real estate community is very thankful for all the work that you do out there to help people and realtors and loan originators. And I know they're all very thankful. So thank you for what you do. I have another fun question. If I ask one of your family members about the funniest story they have about you, what would they share?
I was at a football game 8 or 10 years ago. I don't remember now. It's all moving so fast. And we were walking in the hallway. It was my best friend, my sister, and who do we see but LL Cool J? Okay. So LL Cool J, anyone in my family knows, is my favorite entertainer. He can do anything. He can act, he can rap. He's just, to me, he's amazing. He's a family guy. I just love him. Okay. So my best friend, being my best friend, calls him over. I'm purple. I can't breathe. I'm like, what are you doing? His security team says, hey, ladies, he had this whole thing going. Hey, ladies, back off. LL Cool J comes around this 6'5" guy and says, Mr. Smith always has time for the ladies. Okay. This is honest to God. He's like, can I have my picture taken with you? It's almost like I was set up. It was so horrible. What do I do when I meet my hero? I burst into tears and I lose my glasses. Everyone's laughing at my sister, instead of having my back, says, are you crying because you're touching LL Cool J? and that went on. Yeah. So, but I have a really great picture of him and I that's everywhere in my office. So
You're like the biggest Yankees fan I know, at least on Facebook. Have you always been a baseball fan, like since you've been a little girl?
yeah, so I got very lucky. My grandfather and grandmother on my dad's side were from the Bronx. So my dad spent every summer in the Bronx growing up. So all my uncles were Yankee fans. My dad is not a Yankee fan. That's interesting. But so my aunt went to work for the Yankees. She was George Steinbrenner's press secretary for like 30 years. I'm not making this up.
Wow.
And before in the old days, you couldn't buy things like the Yankee lunchbox or the Yankee jacket like you can now. Like you can get anything you want now. You had to go to the Yankee Stadium days to get those events. So since I was 7 years old, I had everything you could possibly think of being Yankee. And I used to keep the box score. I mean, I have trunks and trunks of box score. I was obsessed with them, obsessed. I met Bucky Dent. I've met so many players over the years. So it's my hobby. It's my passion. Over the last 2 years, I'm kind of horrified by some of the, I don't know, some of the activities, but I try to keep my head in the game. I don't miss a game, either by radio, by phone, by TV. I always have my eyes on a game, even if I'm at a wedding. Unfortunately, I can't help it. It's an addiction.
And yeah, I mean, I see your passion about the Yankees, and I go, "Wow, I've never met not only a Yankee fan like you are, but a baseball fan. You're just like so dialed in, and it's pretty awesome."
I love it. It's a nice break from the day, and it's I mean, like we have Cooperstown in New York. How lucky are we to have that beautiful gem? It's history and it's glory, and I just adore the game. I adore the game. So
Thank you for sharing that.
What you got, Beverly? I know you have a list of questions.
Yeah, I just have the one more that I was going to ask you is, do you have any special holiday traditions?
My favorite holiday is Christmas Eve. So as I mentioned before, I'm from a big Italian family. We don't celebrate Christmas on Christmas. It's always been Christmas Eve, and we do the 7 fishes. Although the Durante, Ivanella, we do more like 20 fishes, to be honest. But we don't eat meat on Christmas Eve. So I get together with my brother and my sister and my mother and my father, and I'm trying to pass on the recipes to my kids, but they're just not seafood lovers. They don't like fish at all. But it's everything to me because it's my grandmother's recipes and it's the tradition of it, and it's just a beautiful day. I love every minute of it, and the food is out of this world. So
Well, it's
Awesome.
coming up really fast.
I know this whole year has gone by so fast. I can't even get over it.
How many closings do you have this week?
We are down, I think, so Friday's a light day, but tomorrow we have about 7, and what's tomorrow, Wednesday, and then I think we have about 8 on Thursday. This week has been very kind to us. It's not as demanding as it usually is, so that's good.
Hopefully all those families can get into their new homes for the holidays.
I know. Yeah, so we don't say no to anybody. If somebody's got to go on Christmas Eve, this year it's a Saturday, but we get it done. I mean, let me just, the attorneys in this area that do what we do, we're in a club. My colleagues on the outside of this firm are such great people, and we all work so hard to make sure that those dreams come true. It's not always easy, and sometimes, we do have to act like lawyers to get it done, but for the most part, it's just a big team effort.
Jami, you told me when I asked you, what would you like the audience to know? What would you like me to tell the audience? And you said, tell them I want to do their closing. So ladies and gentlemen, Jami wants to do your closing for you. That would be great. You mentioned that you read every day. What books, what are your favorite books in life?
Well, you're going to make me admit this. So right now I'm reading the Paul O'Neill book. So 5 different people sent me that book as a gift. So
Really?
I've got to get through it. I love sports autobiographies. I love history. I also like light stuff. You gotta have a break and read your romance too. So yeah, I read about 2 or 3 books a week, I bet.
Do you read any leadership or self-help books or books that would help people become more successful?
It's so funny. The next on the agenda, I wish if I remember the name of it, but my partner Mark Longo just sent it to me on succeeding in business. So that's really next on my list. I don't know the name of it because it's in my car, but
Okay.
so yeah, I anything that inspires you to do better or gives you clarity. I mean, I wish if I wish if there were more books out there that people would recommend to me on that. I'm a business major. I wanted to run a bank, and that's what I wanted to do. So back then, I read a lot of books on management and people and how to be a leader, and all of those books. They're super helpful because that's the hardest part of my job.
Right.
You want to be an empathetic leader. You have to worry about the daily production too, though. So sometimes it's hard to balance, but we're getting there. And there's been such a shortage of paralegals in the area. So anything you want to recommend to me that'll help me, I would love for the recommendation, Christopher.
I'll send you my
Absolutely.
list.
I have a list
Thank
too.
you.
You mentioned earlier about the general public. We're speaking in general terms about your profession not being respected. And there's a certain perception about lawyers, so to speak, right? Do you do anything in particular to overcome those perceptions when you meet people? Because you're right. I could meet Jami, and if you were to tell me I'm a lawyer, people may go, "Really? I can't imagine you being a lawyer," or "I don't see you as a lawyer." Do you think about that in your profession?
I do. You have to, especially as a female lawyer. I used to get, I mean, for 20 years, are you the secretary? Which our secretaries and our paralegals are the reason this firm runs. So that's not what I'm saying. But just because I was female, people always said that to me. I mean, the lawyer jokes, or people saying, "Oh God, you're a lawyer." It's just changed. It's just changed the way people view us. And, I get a lot like, "What do you do for that kind of money?" And it's just, I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a lack of understanding of what we do, of what goes into things.
Wow.
I wish if I could figure it out. That I don't have a clear answer for you on any of that, because
Yeah.
I just try to be myself, and I try to be, I mean, I always say I say what I mean and I mean what I say. And over the years, I mean, I don't advertise at all except for Facebook and social media. And we've done okay with that. And I think it's because I've let people see who I am. And I think they know that I will do everything I can to get them what they need, whether it be the house keys or out of a contract or whatever. But that's the hardest part right now. It's overcoming that perception. You'll hear a lot of us call each other closers instead of attorneys.
Oh, really? Okay.
Maybe that's us trying to, I don't know. I'd have to think about that one.
That's
So.
okay. That's good. That's good. That was a good answer, though. So I always end these interviews by asking, "What's next? What's next for Jami? What's the next big thing?"
We want to move north. I want to open a couple offices up north. So we have our office started in Buffalo. We moved to Rochester, and we have Batavia, and we have Syracuse, and we have Latham, Saratoga in New York City. I think Plattsburgh would be a really nice location next. So once this market evens out a little bit, I think we'll start looking up there. It's a beautiful part of our state. So I'd like to have an office in every quadrant, or whatever you want to call it, of New York.
Excellent.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. We really appreciate it.
It was so nice to know you a little better.
Yeah, I think that people are going to learn something from you because, like I said, I believe in leaning in. I believe that you can balance your life and be a family person and a professional. People think that you always have to choose one or the other. And I think you're, solid proof that that's not the case. You can do it all. And what did you say? You said you like to give everything 100%, right? There you go. So, ladies and gentlemen, Jami Rogowski, we really appreciate you coming on, and look forward to talking to you in person soon.
Thank you, guys. Happy holidays, and thank you so much for all the good you're doing. I love this.
Okay, thanks so much. I'll talk to you soon, okay?
Bye.
Bye-bye.